Welcome to the Softwarepreneur Show, episode number 10. We have Varun Vairavan. Did I pronounce that correctly?
Yeah, pretty close.
From Go High Level, the engineering guru. It's great to have you on the show.
Well, thanks for having me, Pamela.
Absolutely. So you're the hidden, the backbone. I'm not sure. There's some really.
I mean, it definitely. I think Sean makes it sound like it, but the reality is, when we started writing code, both of us started writing code together, and Sean's decently good as well. He underplays his ability. Eventually, I think we had to pick sides, and I was the more engineering inclinated person, and he jumped in and became the more customer facing person. But I think when we first started, I think something that we talk about a lot internally is, how we met and how the company started and how we even got here, which I guess is a story that we don't talk about a lot externally.
Exactly.
So, so my first job, Sean was also at the same company, and we were working on a product, a telephony product together. Sean was on the US side. I think you could say almost like the CEO for that product. I was on the India side, actually building the engineering team, kind of like the CTO for that product. And we were working together on it. We worked together for 5 or 6 years, so we spent quite some time. And I left that company first. I moved to another telephony company, worked there. Then I wanted to start something by myself. So I started working with my brother, and we uh, opened a bunch of businesses. We were setting up sporting facilities back in India. This is badminton, basketball, futsal, like actual facilities where you can go play sports.
Oh, cool.
And during that entire time, Sean had also since left the company, and he would email me every month or so, just checking in, just making sure that I was still around. And he was like, "Hey, I have this idea that I want to work on. Do you want to jump in and start doing it?" And I was always telling him I was busy. No, Sean, I'm not free right now. I'm working on something else. I'm busy. I'm busy. And eventually, when we started, with my brother, when we started with a software idea, but we realized that that wouldn't go long, and then it converted to more of an infrastructure game where we were setting up actual sporting facilities. And the minute we started doing that, I realized that I had no interest in it at all. I want to be back in engineering. I want to really work with software. And that's when I eventually gave, and I was like, okay, Sean, tell me what your idea is, and let's start building it. And this was in 2016 or so, 2016, 2017. And that first idea that we worked on was an invoicing app. This was an app that you could get for free on your phone as a small business owner, a plumber, electrician, HVAC person. And you can send invoice estimates, have your customers sign the estimate, convert it to an invoice, and you could charge them. The whole idea was, let's give the app out for free, but then make money on payments. When credit card payments come in, and we will take a slice of those payments. But the thing that we didn't see ahead of time was small businesses hate using credit cards or receiving payments using credit cards, because there's chargeback risk.
Right.
There's the funds need to be held in deposit for a rolling period of time, but most businesses want, or at least if you're a plumber or an electrician or a one-man team or a one-person team, you want the funds that you collected yesterday tomorrow for your food, for the next job. You just need that money. You can't have it sit around in a bank account for 15 days and never have it pay out. So we didn't see all of those challenges. So people would use the app, they love the app, but they just didn't want to use the credit card payments, and people kept asking us for a way to turn it off. So we were like, well, we'll allow them to turn it off, but what we'll do is we'll make the app paid. And that's the second thing. No one likes paying for an app.
For an app.
Everyone wants an app to be free. So which was the second challenge. Then we were like, well, how do we do this? Well, maybe we do more for this customer. Or what do people in the service industry, plumbers, electricians, HVACs, if you go to a bigger organization, there's appointment scheduling, job dispatching. Well, guess what? We'll do all of that. So we built an app to do all of that. It was called Service Pro Max. And we finished building it, we started selling it. And that's when we realized that it's really, really hard to sell to the small business. Unless you're in that town, you have relationships, you know the person, then it's different. But if you're reaching out on a phone, trying to sell them, you have to cold email, you need to cold call. Most of these people aren't interested in listening to you. They're probably at a job site. And even when you call and pitch the software, the gains aren't enough for them because we weren't delivering outcomes for them like the marketing agencies are. We were just selling them a tool. So the proposition wasn't good enough. And even if we could get a few sales, it really meant we had to have a ton of money, hire a bunch of salespeople, burn through money before we could get
Right.
enough. And
I
that was, yeah.
I worked in the telephone industry and I would reach out, I was in sales and I would reach out. Some of the verticals that I liked were electricians and plumbers and things like that as well. And we had a huge division, huge sales team. Just to get them to switch their cell phones was
Yeah.
really a challenge. So I can certainly relate to that. Yeah, absolutely. So Service Pro Max is what it was called. That's very interesting. I've never heard the name before.
We get that internally because a lot of our code bases still have Service Pro Max in their name. So
Do
we
they?
have new engineers or people who join always ask, hey, what is SPM? I see that all over the code base. And we're like, well, that's Service Pro Max. That's one of the first versions of high level that we built. And I mean, so we realized that, it was going to be hard. We tried a few more things like Prosper MD. So all through this journey, we knew that we wanted to build for the small business. That's a market that we were familiar with. It was a market that we're passionate about. So, and we knew these tools could help them, but
Right.
we just couldn't bridge that gap of, hey, why won't they take this help that we're trying to give them? And why are they not interested in it? And it was on that journey, all through this journey, we were collecting customers, just not a lot of them, 5 here, 10 here. So we were collecting some customers. One of those customers asked us to jump on a call with their marketing agency. And at that point, we were like, why jump on call with a marketing agency at all? But that agency was Robin's agency, Innovate Fast. And we jumped on, and that's how we met. And that's what opened our eyes to the whole marketing agency and the role they play in the ecosystem and how they really drive outcomes for small businesses. And I think that completely changed what High Level today is as a company. But that entire journey was about 3-4 years from, trying
Wow.
different ideas, really trying to help small business.
So that's how you met Robin. I was not, I knew it was a digital marketing agency, but I wasn't sure exactly how that fit together.
Yeah, that's how we met him. And I mean, Robin, from the time he came in, was just delivering value. I mean, even on our first call, he understood all the features. I think right after he was like, hey, can I, buy this for 10 of my customers? And I mean, making a sale a week was a big deal for us back then. So 10 at once was
Whoa.
huge.
Yeah.
So we're like, wow, that's interesting. And then he was like, well, I know 10 agencies. Do you guys mind if, I bought all of them on? And we're like, no, of course not. Just bring them all on. And, it just started rolling from then. He, at the beginning, at least when we first met Robin, there was no contract in place. There was no ownership, no equity, no financial deal where, we would pay him for accounts or something. He just liked the product that he was using. He liked talking to us. So he just kept, doing more and more for us. We loved Robin as a person. So, we just kept listening more and more to him. And, that's how that whole relationship started. And I think a year or so in, we already knew, we were like, hey, we need to figure this out. Like Robin's doing all of this stuff for us. And, we haven't, had that conversation with him yet. And we knew that, we were going to give equity, and he technically is a co-founder, because until that point the company really was nothing. It was just me, Sean, and maybe 10 customers.
Right.
um, I mean, eventually, we all sat down and got on the same page, and we were really happy that Robin was excited to jump on as well. But that was how that happened.
What a great journey. I've been in the service business for a while and I had an agency kind of like Robin. And what I heard was probably one of the most powerful things that I did and recommend other people do when they're starting a business, and that's be of service. What
Yeah.
Robin did was the generosity of that. And look where it brought him and where it's brought the company. I think it's a really undervalued way to build a business, is to really, and you can see that generosity in Go High Level.
Yeah.
That,
And I think we try to do the same thing. So whether I mean, I get asked this all the time. So I met with someone yesterday who wants to integrate with High Level as a platform, and I was telling them how they could do it. And the only question was, but how do you guys get paid? And I was like, we don't need to get paid. And they were like, but you're leaving
Right,
money on the table. Like, why aren't you capitalizing on it?
right,
And what I was explaining to them is it doesn't matter. So as a developer, let's say you're coming into the high level marketplace and you're building an integration for us. If you're going to make 40, $50,000 a month off that integration, we want you to make that money so you can build a team on your side and you can maybe build more integrations, and we help your business grow at the same time.
right,
It's not for us to bite into 30% or 40% of that just so we can maximize what we can get today. And it's the same relationship we have with our customers. We've gotten asked both internally and externally, why can't we charge per location? Why
right.
can't we charge per contact like everyone else? But that isn't the goal. It's not to optimize and really to get the maximum out of what we have. It's really to leave money on the table so our customers are happy to be with us.
Right. It's a very different model than what's out there for sure. And that brings up the profitability issue. Are you going to be here in 10 years? Are you going to be able to sustain at this rate?
Yeah. So this is where I think we're lucky
Mm.
because we kept searching for this model and we didn't raise money upfront. We were always profitable. So when we hired our first engineer, we had money in the bank that was coming in and we were just spending that. But we were cautious. We hired the engineer from Upwork and not on a full-time contract because we were like, well, if the money stops, at least we can end the contract, and we haven't hired someone that we have to fire. And we did that for some time before there was enough money where we felt confident to hire someone and bring them on full time. And we kept going. And today the team is about, I mean, it's 570 or 80, but I think by the end of the month, they expect it to be at 600 people. But that's, we're still profitable. I mean, we keep adding money to the bank with 600 people on our team, jumping on calls with our customers as soon as possible. What Robin and the rest of the team there, Ian, everyone's working on is if a customer has a problem, instead of going back and forth on a ticket, how do we make sure that we get them on a call as soon as possible?
Right.
And we're able to do that. We're able to staff and be able to deliver that experience. On the engineering side, it's how do we make sure that every engineer jumps on a call with a customer at least once a week. It's really to build that relationship so they see people using their product, they see the pains that they're having, they empathize with them and fix it quickly for them. And we're able to do all of that still being profitable and
Yes.
adding to them. And that's the thing is, are we leaving some money on the table? Yes, but we don't need the same amount of money other venture funded companies need, because their distribution model requires them to run ads, have huge sales teams, a lot of acquisition expense which they need to recoup, and then they do the math of LTV versus CAC, and the minute you start doing that, you have to find a way to expand the account. But we don't have that same challenge because our acquisition is through word of mouth or affiliate, so there is no cost of acquisition.
Yeah.
So I mean, every person coming in the door is just giving us more money or adding in value. So that is why we're able to be so cheap. That is why we'll still be around 10 years, 20 years. Like even through this recession period where a lot of companies are laying people off and sending employees home, we're still continuing to grow our team. Like I said, we're 570 today. We're going to be 600 before the end of this month. So we're still adding team members at a rapid pace.
It's absolutely fantastic. I have been on calls with some of the developers on the calendar team, the funnel team, the email team, and very open to the feedback. When I'm in the Facebook group and they're complaining about MailChimp or this and that, I go, get their Zoom number, like go see if you can get on Zoom with them, right? Like you just can't. And it's just astonishing to see what happens in the Facebook group when, so I was a funnel builder. So this is my frame of reference, right? Like it would take me 90 days to build a full funnel marketing campaign with, a few staff and one client. And it took 90 days. So I'm sitting
Yeah.
here going, so it gives me a level of empathy around what it is that you're trying to do. If I can't pull a funnel out of my butt in 5 days, right? Just hustling, how on earth do you do what you do? And for someone to not notice and recognize that, how do you not stop like yourself from just screaming and the frustration level?
Yeah. And I mean, on our side, we see this often and the reactions change over time, right? Which is why we have people jump on with customers. We don't want them to hear just the bad. We
Yeah,
want them to hear the good as well. And on a lot of calls, people are really thankful. They're like, wow, you guys changed my life. Thank you so much. I have no idea what it is that you guys do or how you do this. You guys are just magic. And I
yeah,
think that's really great for the team because it tells them that they're having an impact. So when you hear the other call, the angry, frustrated person, you're just looking for, hey, this person is in real pain right now, and how
yeah,
can I help this person, tide over this. But you get that level of empathy only when you get both sides, because if you're just having people scream at you all day, you're going to have a tough time doing that. So I think jumping on calls with customers really helps. We also try to release as fast as possible just to bridge that gap. There are going to be problems, like the ecosystem is constantly changing, the uh, apps around us are constantly changing. Like one week something was important and the next week it's something completely different. Like even
right,
on the idea of what was important last year might not even be relevant this year. TikTok might be really high on people's list right now, but next year legislation comes in, bans TikTok, and then TikTok is gone off the list and it doesn't matter anymore. So
right.
we need to be able to react to what's happening, whether it's bugs, whether it's changes in the market, features, whatever it is, as quickly as possible. So with the team, we have them run as tight sprints as possible. So 2 weeks for any small feature, 45 days, even if it's a really large one. And this is the skateboard model. Get something out, get it in front of the customer and build with the customer. Because if you build by yourself, thinking that you know what the customer wants, when you finally release, it'll kind of be there, but the color will be wrong. The shape might be slightly off. A few features they think are vital will not be there, and they will still not use it. And going back and redoing that work, or all of the time you spent doing that work, is just wasted. Instead, if you get that minimum version out and then you keep listening to feedback and you keep building with them, you'll get there much faster, and you'll get exactly what the customer wanted. So that's what we keep pushing for, is release as fast as possible. So if it's a bug, if it's a small feature, in under 2 weeks, we push out a release and we fix as many of these as possible. If it's a completely new feature that doesn't exist in the app at all, then it's 45 days to get out a minimum version.
That's incredibly fast. If
Yeah.
you, so I came from the ClickFunnels world, and the 1.0 to 2.0 has taken years. And it just magically, something just kind of appears. There is no feedback. There is no real updates on what's happening. The danger of that, I think, is exactly what you were saying, is you build something that people don't really want, or it's not usable. It's not functioning in the way that it needs to. So I'm a little, I don't know if the word's concerned, but I'm certainly on watch over there to see how that's actually going to fulfill itself, because it feels like it's a dumpster fire. It feels like it's an absolute dumpster fire. Um, with regards to you, we don't know, I know you live in Dubai, but that's probably about all that I know about you. You're a very private person. So you live in Dubai? Can you tell us a little bit about
Uh,
who
so
you
in
are? Yeah.
so in Qatar, actually, which is
Oh,
right next to
Qatar.
Dubai.
Yeah.
So the way that happened, when me and Sean started working on this, we did not take any investment upfront or any of that. So that's how we were able to keep going at it for as many years as possible. And that's a little bit of the margin of safety, where if you can keep at it long enough, you will succeed. It's just, do you have the margin of safety to make sure that you can try for long enough to eventually succeed? And the way both of us achieve that is by our wives supporting us. uh, so they really paid the bills. And my wife was in Qatar, and she was and still is working here as a research scientist. So
Oh,
that is the reason that I moved here. And I mean, we started the company remote because both Sean and me were always working remote. Sean was in the US, I was here. And when we hired the team, I mean, we didn't have an office, and I mean, we only had the money that was coming in from customers. So we had to hire people on Upwork, which was again remote. So we just kept building that way. And this was pre-COVID. So we never felt that it was abnormal. And, the company is still mostly remote today. I think there's very few people that come into the office, and it still works. So we just continue to stay in Qatar.
Wow. I think a lot of SaaS businesses have this idea that, or any business in general, that it's going to happen overnight. And I really appreciate the story of the 4 to 5 years and your wife supporting you to get through this. I think they think that it's going to happen overnight and there's going to be $1 million and it's going to be fantastic. I've built a few businesses and I've never experienced that. It's always been, my husband supported me through a lot of it too. It's a team effort for sure.
And it takes a lot of work. There are a lot of sacrifices, but I mean, it is fun. I think as long as you are a team and you have belief in each other, I think it's a fun journey to go on.
Mhm. How do you manage the team being remote? What are some of your biggest challenges?
So it actually hasn't been that hard. So we get asked this question a decent bit, like, are there any tricks? Like, do you guys use tools that, monitor productivity, take screenshots? How often are the check-ins? So we don't do anything crazy. It's just Slack and Zoom. Those are the only two things we use. Email exists, but internally, no one writes an email to each other. Everyone's on Slack. The thing that I tell the teams is, if there is someone that you have to run behind, like let's say you have a team member and you've assigned them to go do a bunch of tickets. If the next day comes and the next day comes and those tickets are not done, and you need to keep following up with them, ask them, hey, did you get those tickets done? Why didn't you get those tickets done? That's probably not a right fit for us. We should let that person go,
Mm.
because personal accountability is really what drives it. If you hand something off to someone, you need to have the confidence that they will either get it done, or if there was a problem with getting it done, they will come back to you and say, hey, I know you asked me to do these 4 or 5 tickets, but here's the problem that I'm having. But if they're not communicating back to you and they're just going into their own shell and nothing ever gets done, we should let that team member go. And the managers do give feedback that, hey, this is the expectation that we have, and if the team member isn't doing it right once, twice, they will give them feedback. But beyond that, we will just let that person go,
Mhm.
because we don't want to build that company and that culture of keeping everyone accountable and auditing people's work and time. We want to trust that every person we have on the team is smart, and they might sit at their desk 6 hours today, they might sit at their desk 10 hours tomorrow, and we don't care. As long as they get the job done and we can hold them accountable to that, we're happy with it. So our strategy is just trust. How do
Mm.
we make sure that we have team members who we can just trust to get the job done?
I noticed that there's a few really powerful women, female engineers on your team as well. Pooja,
Yeah.
Sam, a couple of them. I really am impressed by the hiring as well for high level, that it does look at women of color and women in those in like I'm assuming they're Pakistan, India. So as a woman, I think I really impressed to see that when they come on the calls.
Yeah, I mean, I'm blown away by the work that the team does every day as well. And you specifically brought up Pooja, Samishta, and yeah, I mean, the work that they do is incredible.
It
I think
is.
internally, the product call that we have, so every day we have a product call. It's a 1 hour call where different product teams come and they internally talk about what it is that they're doing. That definitely is the most fun call for us internally, because you get to see cool stuff every day. You get to track where different things are. You get to see what ideas they come up with. So it is a really fun environment.
That would be really exciting for me. I've never thought of myself as a techie person, but I definitely would be. I guess I can't stand it. Like every day I'm in the Facebook group, like clicking, is there an update? Is there an update? Is there an update? I started with high level with FT funnels through Julie
Yeah.
Chanel and was absolutely fascinated by it. And right from that day, I was waiting for contracts and proposals. And I'm really excited about that feature finally coming. That was the one feature that, as a coach, I felt was really, really powerful to have. So I'm really looking forward to seeing that.
Yeah. I
There's
mean, that
lots
one is really close. So you won't have to wait too much
too
longer.
much longer. Yeah. So there's a lot of places where people can go to look at updates, can provide feedback. I'll list all of those down below. We've got the Canny site, we've got the Go High Level Town Hall, there's the Facebook group. But is there anything that you like could give us like a little sneak about what you may be working on that nobody knows about yet?
I mean, AI is incredibly exciting right now. So, I mean, anything that's AI, we're really excited by. The chatbot, I think Sean kind of put a sneak peek out
A
of
little bit.
the
Yeah.
bot that we created internally for our support team. We're putting out something similar for customers as well, where you can launch a bot to your end businesses. You just give it the website of the business or any content, and it will digest that information. You can start asking the bot questions, test it right there to see how it replies, and you can launch it for a customer. And you can launch it across all channels: Facebook, Insta, uh, live chat, I think, is another item that we will be thinking about. So today we only do the text conversations, and our stance over there has always been no business is going to be able to man or staff live chat up. But that isn't true anymore, because now
Mm.
you can staff live chat up by using a bot, because it's going to give people the responses as quickly as possible. So we are starting to more seriously think about live chat. So I think, and on the AI side, a lot of platforms are coming up with, hey, AI to create workflows, AI to create funnels, and a lot of that will roll out through the remainder of, I mean, this quarter, next quarter. I think the funnel one is really exciting.
Yes.
The idea that you could just say new funnel, and you can say, hey, this is for a plumber in a local town, and these are the main services that they have, and you just write about 4 or 5 sentences, and you hit create, and you just have a funnel. And the funnel has all the pages, it has all the sections, the content is written specifically for them, the images swap out automatically, and it just works. I think that's a really exciting, cool idea. And with a lot of these, the agencies will still have to go and then probably do a bit of work. But
Yes.
the nice thing is it gives a much nicer starting point. Instead of
Right.
starting from scratch or from a template, it gets you much farther. And then you just go and make edits, make some tweaks, and then you're able to launch it. So there are a lot of cool AI features we're working on.
I started with being a funnel builder. That was kind of my service, I guess. It just grew and then it grew into marketing because I realized people didn't know how to write copy and all the pieces that it required. And the funnel build that's mind blowing to think that that's a possibility that AI, I'm a little bit older than you, and we didn't even have computers, never mind AI, right? So this is so fascinating to be a part of it. And what does that mean for a business? What does that mean for as a marketer? The possibilities, I can't even sit still around it sometimes. They're so what I heard you saying is that that's coming to high level, the ability to,
Yeah, it is. And I think, I mean, this is something that we talk about internally as well. And really over here, no one can see the future.
right?
Your guess is as good as mine. But one of the assumptions we have is more will just get done. The fact that AI can help so much just means that you can make the service or the product more affordable. And the fact that it becomes affordable means more people just buy it. So more businesses will use marketing services, more software will get written for all platforms. I think just more work gets done. It's not that the people who have jobs today will be out of jobs and there's nothing for anyone to do anymore. It just means that the people today are more productive, which means that the cost of the service comes down. It means more businesses, more people can afford these services.
I might sneeze. And that's so true. I think the mindset around that needs to really change. I think I'm not fearful in any way around it. It's just so exciting to see how could I put the knowledge. It's really just a knowledge piece that I have that eventually will be taken over as well. But the I never saw it coming. They talked about it, but it just came so fast. And high levels being able to adjust very, very quickly. Not all software is able to do that. What is the reason that you're able to do it and pull AI as fast as you did?
I think going back to something we talked about earlier in the conversation, 45 days
Mhm.
for something completely new, 2 weeks if it's a smaller feature, and just keeping our roadmap flexible. Like if we see something important or something that is changing the market coming out, there's two good things. One, because we're releasing frequently, there isn't something that we have been working on for 3 months where we need to put in another month's work to release it. And we're committed to those timelines. We don't want to waste the work. Since we're releasing every 2 weeks, If the team was working on it, it's properly released or will release next week. And once that's done, if something more important comes up, we just clear the other stuff off the table and put this on top.
Right.
And it's the nice thing about releasing frequently. There's no baggage, and you can just decide to change course as quickly as you want.
Yeah, that word flexible was very, very powerful. And your speed, you think about any business that's got, so much on the plate, you can't move it. And you can see that in other companies, they're really delayed and or scrambling and putting out lesser quality product.
Yeah.
Yes. Is there anybody in the marketplace you're concerned about? Is there anybody out there that you're watching or?
I think in terms of the distribution, we're slightly unique, and a lot of the people who are our competitors, from a tool set standpoint, they might be our competitors, but I think from a pricing standpoint and a distribution standpoint, there's no one who is a true competitor. And I think those are the advantages. And it takes a lot. A lot of these companies are so committed to their revenue, they cannot throw their models away and just switch to attack our pricing model or our distribution strategy. So that becomes slightly tougher. But the risk is probably going to come from below. It's not going to come from above. It'll be a new company that started last year, this year, maybe today, that can come faster. And with things like AI growing, a company that starts today using programmers assisted by AI can probably build and get to where we got. What took us 4 years to build, maybe they can build in a year. And what took us 140, 50 engineers to build, maybe they can build it with 20 engineers. And that really is the biggest risk that we have, is they get here faster than us and they get here with lesser resources than us. So they're able to disrupt us, and they can attack our model, they can attack our pricing. That's really where the risk comes from. And the way we really guard against it is internally, we start to do those same things. We need to be leveraging AI to make sure that the 140 engineers in the team can do the same as 500 engineers, or at some point 1,000 engineers. So how do we make sure we're leveraging AI to make sure our developers are more productive? And how do we make sure that, from a model perspective, we're continuing to be the best deal in town? So it's hard for people to come in and disrupt us. So I think it will come from below, but we're doing everything in our hands to make sure that that doesn't happen.
One question that I've heard, and I know the answer to this already, but the listeners probably don't. Will there ever be a time where we have to go from a 1.0 to a 2.0?
Our customers will never have to. We always do. So we continuously go from 1.0 to 2.0. So even today, like a new version of the funnels page launched. Last week, a new version of the funnel builder, just with certain top bar elements swapped out, launched. Next week, there will be a new settings area that launches for the funnel builder. Then there will be new elements. So we constantly are upgrading the software, and even the core product, like the builders themselves. Next week, you will see a revamped email builder. I think it's on beta right now, and it'll be live in a week or so, the new email builder. And then you'll see some edits and changes we made to the blogging area. So we are constantly updating, and some of these have gone past 2.0, have hit 3.0, 4.0. There's a new form and survey builder that's launching, which I'm really excited about, because it's one of the first builder products that we built. And we built this back in 2019, and it hasn't changed since then. And it probably was the weakest part of our application, but there's a new version of the form and survey builder coming out.
Wow.
So those will be really nice. And none of these stop. So the new version that they put out replaces the core functionality. And then they have plans, because a lot of these, when I say 140 engineers, sometimes it feels like, hey, high level is just focusing on new features, or they're focusing just on one aspect. But at the size that we have, there are big teams of 3, 4, 5 engineers on each product area that we have. And there's product managers on each of those. So all of these products are just going to continue to improve and improve. And as the teams stay there longer, the product manager gets more comfortable with the vision, there's going to be a compounding effect. The high level today feels good. 1 year from now will feel wow. 2 years from now, it'll be like, oh my God, like how did these guys build all of these things? So the compounding effect will really start to take in. So I think there are a lot of those type of things.
So there's a lot of people out there that don't understand, including myself, how code and this part of what you do works. The simplest example I have is when I was working at the phone company and text messages were not appearing. One lady, just long story. So I go into knock. I don't know what that even stands for anymore, but the control center, and he had screens everywhere. And he started to explain to me how text messages work, and it breaks into little packets, and sometimes those packets stay together and sometimes they don't, and they reroute and then they get back over to where they are. They kind of all line up and they do what they're supposed to do, and every once in a while a packet will get lost or they come back together mixed up. And I'm like, huh, oh, I didn't know that happened. I thought just magically everything was supposed to work all the time, right? So for my little silly example, I now understand when high level doesn't work sometimes, or when this doesn't work or that doesn't work. Do you have a more professional explanation of how that, how sometimes it works
And we
and
get
doesn't work?
this all the time, right? So there will be
Yeah.
people who say, hey, high level slow. Or
Yeah.
they'll be like, "Oh, I think it's time for you to upgrade your server, guys."
Yeah.
And when I hear that, I mean, I understand the sentiment. And again, you're just empathetic. You're like, I get it. I get what you're
Yeah.
saying. I can see where it's slow and we'll improve it. But the reality is, it's not a server. We have thousands of servers, and it's not a service. We have thousands of services. And, there's such a big web that we have on the back end of all these different services performing different functions, all of them running on multiple servers, communicating with each other. It's
Exactly.
very, very complex. So this is where examples really help. So which is why we always ask for, hey, can you show us how to reproduce it? Can you tell us what page it was on, what account it was on? Because it could be something as specific as a problem with a single account to a single feature to, then being more broad. So examples really help us narrow this down. But on the back end, it gets really complicated.
Yeah, it does. I do what I call high level support, but there's teams I help build and then they come to me for answers. And so I see this stuff that I just can't even figure out myself, right? Like, whoa, what is this? And I did it for the Bell Mobility, or the company I worked for. And it was always really fascinating to get in the back end and see just how much was user level. And it just, they had no idea actually what was going on.
Hey,
Something.
that is one of the biggest challenges we have is just user proofing the software.
Yeah.
And we started with things like audit logs, error messages.
Yes.
We're working on things like domain connect now, because one thing we realized is of all the tickets that we get on funnels, more than 70% of the tickets for users under 30 days. So this is someone signed up for high level, and they're within their first 30 days, 70% of all tickets are about setting up DNS for funnels. And that just tells us that it needs to be straightforward. Seems like a simple thing, but obviously a lot of people are having trouble there. And then we narrowed in on, hey, there's two pieces here. One, if they want to point the www and the base domain both to the same site, we don't make that straightforward or easy. We should fix
Right.
that. The
Yeah.
next is, even adding the DNS record is a challenge for most people. So now the new flow that we're launching, we're using an open standard called Domain Connect, which this will again launch in the next few weeks, where when you put in a domain, we will automatically detect who the provider is. And if it's Google Domains, if it's GoDaddy, if it's Cloudflare, we have relationships with them through Domain Connect. So there will just be a one-click button which just says, hey, it looks like your domain's with GoDaddy. Click here to connect your funnel. When they click, it redirects to GoDaddy, asks if you want to allow high level to add records. You just hit the button, you come back, and it's all set up.
That's
And then
amazing.
you don't have to do that anymore. So it's these type of things, like how do we make the software really, really simple for our customers? That really is our focus now.
It's a really big tip for people that are onboarding people to make sure that the domain, there's a lot of conversation around it and a lot of training around it. We spend a lot of the teams that I'm on, we spend a lot of time on calls about domains and try to stop that all from escalating up, but it's a huge one for sure. That's probably the one thing I can do in my sleep is the domains. So the last thing I want to touch on is you won an award recently. Can you tell us about that?
Well, we got picked for the finals of an award. I think you're talking about the Entrepreneur of the Year. But Sean, Robin, and me went down to the EY office. We did our interview with the judges and stuff for the finals. And I mean, we'll see, we'll know the results, I think, in about a month. And then that's for a particular region, and then it goes national, and then it goes worldwide. And
Mm.
uh, some of this is just making sure that more people know that we exist, and this is just another way to do that.
If you had one of Sean's favorite quotes that we hear all the time, he says, if there's one thing that he, how does it go? It's a bad day for him when people don't understand what it is you guys are trying to do. Do you
Yeah.
have a quote as well that's something that you kind of run by?
I mean, the one that I really talk to the team a lot about is, will this make the boat go faster?
Hmm.
And this is a story about, and I've lost some of where the story comes from, but this was an English or a New Zealand rowing team, and the team was doing really bad towards the last in the standings. And they got a new coach, and that coach, when he came in, would just ask the team one question every day: will this make the boat go faster? No matter what the question was, no matter what the ask was, will this make the boat go faster? And that question transformed that team into a championship winning team. It's just having that singular focus
Hmm.
on that mission. And for us, with that example, it's, hey, should I go out tonight? Will it make the boat go faster? No, probably not. Should I go to the gym tomorrow? Will it make the boat go faster? Probably will. So it's having that level of clarity in your decision making towards a goal really, really helps.
That's
And the
fantastic.
message that I keep pushing for the internal team is, really make sure that we're singularly focused on our customers. And if this helps our customers, it's a yes. If it doesn't, then it's a no.
Fantastic quote. I'm going to steal it.
Hmm.
One of the things I wanted to mention just before I get off this call is the ability to have the life that I have and to work with people that I love and to do what it is that I think I'm here to do. Go High Level has been able to provide that for myself and my family. And we're able to move to Mexico where my husband is, and we've been able to come home, and he doesn't have to work. I provide for us. And we are so grateful for all that you do and all the sacrifice and the ability to have an affiliate income to promote and stand behind Go High Level is something I'm very proud to do. And I know I've run a few businesses, not to the level that you have, but that level of generosity has expanded to my family, my husband's family, and so many other people. And I want to say thank you for your vision, your drive, your ingenuity, your innovation, all of those things that you've been able to do as who you are to bring something like this to fruition for so many people that I recognize it and I'm grateful for it.
Thank you, ma'am. I mean, that was incredibly heartfelt.
I
I
need
think you
it.
can even see a tear
Oh.
in my eye. That was really nice. And I mean, that's why we do it, right? It's these stories, and we're addicted to these stories. We're addicted to, helping people and hearing these stories and knowing that we're having such a positive impact. And we'll just keep doing more of the same.
My husband's sister has stage 4 cancer that has spread, and we're financially able to assist. We're able to, he can go home. Those financial decisions are mute, it doesn't matter. We're able to do what we need to do. And because you do what you do, it means a lot. And I want to say thank you from the bottom of our hearts, my husband as well.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for everything you do for us, Pamela.
Oh, absolutely. I'm a huge advocate out there every day. Thank you so much for your time. I think your voice and who you are is such a vital part of High Level. And I'm so glad to have the ability to speak with you and share more of who you are and what Go High Level stands for so that we can continue to keep growing as a company as well. And I do consider it a we. So I'm glad to have this time with you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Pamela.